Hey everybody, we are should be wrapping up chapter 4 and going into chapter 5, and we're talking about different aspects of patrol and some of the different tools, technologies that we have at our disposal. And something I wanted to kind of focus on today, spend a little time talking about radar. So radar, I know that a lot of you have obviously heard the acronym, but I don't know if you really understand what it is or what it actually stands for. So it's radio, A in there, detection, and ranging. Okay, so it's radio detection and ranging. Basically, helps if I can write that. Basically, here's how it works. It sends out an ultra high frequency, sometimes called microwave frequency. It sends that out from the vehicle or from a handheld like I'm going to show you today. And so hypothetically, if this is our squad car, yeah, as you guys, most of you know from having class, I'm not always the most artistic, but it gets the point across. So when radar comes out, we turn our radar on, we have a radar frequency that comes out. And the farther out that goes, the bigger the area that it covers and the weaker the signal gets. So that's something we'll talk about when we talk about some of the procedures on how to use radar, and also the some of the pitfalls or things you need to be aware of, kind of look out for when you are using radar. But I did want to show you, kind of what the handheld version looks like, because most of you in your squad cars will have radar. Some of you will have both front and rear radar detectors, and we'll get into that in a little bit as far as explaining exactly how it works. But really simple as far as the handheld is concerned. Most of this is a stalker, but most of them operate about the same way. So put this handheld, the battery's actually in the handle here. There's a little lever down here that you lock it in place, and then you guys will learn. I don't want to spend the whole time talking about your different, how you select different things, but nonetheless you can apply for things like largest object, for instance, or the strongest signal is a better way to put that. Highest speeds, there's different settings you can go for, and you can also have any more. I used to say, we can't run radar in the rain. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's just usually we don't really want to get out in the rain a whole lot and do traffic stuff that's really not, in most cases, it's nothing dire that we really need to be stopping someone for. So, but what I want to get at, as far as, I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this, is how you actually, when to use radar, and the setup of it. So in your car, this one doesn't have to be calibrated. It's already, it already comes that way, and usually when you turn it on, it will basically recalibrate itself, and you don't have to worry about it. But in your car, you'll have tuning forks, and you basically, they'll show you in your training on how to actually use the tuning forks in front of your radar detector to actually, make sure it's calibrated for that day. We recommend doing it every day. Yeah, they recommend trying to do it between every single stop, but in reality that doesn't always happen. But you do need to make sure you calibrate it every day you work, every time you plan on using it, because when you go to court, they'll ask you how often it was, or they'll ask you for your for the records that you have, as far as records for calibration, care for your radar detector, and things like that. So, they're showing you here, when you turn it on, it's going to send a broad radio frequency out, okay? And that's a little side note. That's why radar detectors, well, not detectors, but radar jammers are actually a violation of federal law, according to the FCC, because it sends out or submits a radio frequency to jam whatever our frequency will actually detect. It doesn't mean it doesn't work, and actually what you'll end up getting on normal radar when you're using it, and I'll explain how and when to actually turn it on, but once you turn it on, you'll start to get it basically comes back as a sound, because that's exactly what, it's a sitting out radio waves, and that change in time that it takes from from the time it goes out, hits an object, and comes back. That gives you a kind of a tone, and as you get closer to something, that tone changes, especially as that car may be going faster. The faster something goes, the higher the pitch of that tone. Okay? And what happens with jammers is, so you have your potential vehicle over here, take that off, and they send out, if they have a jammer, it comes here, and it basically prevents your signal from going back because they're emitting their own signal. However, what it sounds like whenever you hear a jammer, it will be a constant sound like ee, and what you get from that is, you can tell that person has a jammer because normally my tone will change as I go, as someone approaches me, or however I'm set up. But nonetheless, I just want to do a real brief explanation of radar, what it is, how it operates. I will discuss the but pitfalls you need to be aware of in a different video. And one advantage of these handheld radars is that, I'm going to put this together again, is that I can be sitting in a median somewhere, for example, and actually be running radar. And it's set up to where most troopers, most officers that ever do this will actually set it up to where they are perpendicular. So I'm sitting this way, traffic is flowing, perpendicular to me. That way I can see what's going on and actually use the radar this way. However, if you're using it in the car itself and not handheld, then most officers will end up having to be same direction or parallel to traffic. So that was something else I will touch on in another video that I had kind of mentioned about how to, the idea of seeing cars and how that actually takes precedence over anything you get with this radar detector. So like I said, here's kind of the basics of a radar and how it operates, but I will definitely get into more of the bigger problems that we run into, or some big things to remember with both radar and LiDAR in a separate video. But I just wanted to get you familiar with kind of the radio, exactly what it is specifically. So that'll take care of this lesson for today, and then like I said, I'll be having a video on LiDAR and then also the different pitfalls for both of them when we're using it during patrol. Take care.